this is Aromie here. Welcome back to our life. We are now going to finish off step 2 with the last DLC of Soiree. You whirled away the morning, doing whatever struck your fancy, and now you're recharging with lunch. With nothing on the horizon, you were free to spend as much or as little time on your plate as you wanted. It was while you were thinking on all the possibilities for your afternoon that your mom's approached you.
Hi.
Hi, Michiko. You okay? Mouthful, you nod and replied. To your surprise, they both sat with you at the table. Based on the time, you had wondered if they were joining you for a meal, but neither of them brought anything.
Alright.
We wanted to have a little chat with you. Oh no. The qualifier little did nothing to downplay the situation. Your chewing slowed as your eyes widened, looking from one parent to the other. Anything that required both of them to talk to you must be something big. It was unsettling. You perked up, your mind full of exciting possibilities. Irritated interruption, you groaned. It was unsettling. You didn't like being the only one not knowing what was going on. Stomach churning away from the feeling wind.
There.
Don't look so worried. It's nothing scary, promise. There's a soiree at the Cypress tonight, tomorrow night. Your mom and I are going. Does Cypress was the country club. The country club, that's where Elizabeth be. Country club your moms were part of and where Elizabeth played golf. It seemed like every other month they had some event or another, all with the fancy names like soiree. Chewing your lip, you wondered what this had to do with you. Mom chuckled at your poorly concealed reaction. Leaning in, Mom took your hand and squeezed it. We've decided to make the night a bit special. Elizabeth is going to be allowed to stay home fully alone for the first time.
Sorry.
You'll still be coming to what? You'll still be coming to the party with us. It's Elizabeth's night to party with no family around. Not yours. Sorry. You've got to wait a couple more years. That's not fair. You were disappointed by the news. Alright, I can go. What's the story going to be like? The usual. Well, mostly. We wanted to make it a special night for you, too. So we got something a little extra planned. That was unexpected. Interested, you listened. Your parents shared a look across the table. You cleared your throat, reminding them that you were waiting, that they couldn't keep dropping such hints and then turn coy when the conversation was about to get good.
Well?
Since it's a pretty fancy party that's still chaperoned, and attendees are allowed to bring a guest, we thought it might be a nice opportunity for you to invite someone yourself as a date, if you want. Your eyes widened as the words sunk in. Your mom continued, and it was a struggle to keep up. Even though we'll be at the party too, you don't need to worry about us getting in your way. You'll be free to eat, dance, and enjoy the music as you see fit. But no leaving the property. Mom nodded at Mom's interjection.
Isn't that great?
As long as you don't leave the party, and if you'd rather bring just a friend, that's okay too. A-okay too. It's amazing. You must have lit up because your parents shared a amused look.
Don't worry about it.
The soiree isn't until tomorrow, so you've got time. Just let us know your plans before we're heading out. And that's all. We'll leave you to your lunch now. A date. Can I choose a date option? With Derek, please. Your moms rose from the chair in unison, disappearing to another part of the house. You barely noticed their departure. All you could think of was what had just happened. The remnants of your lunch stared up at you from your plate. You felt you should just... you were glad to go back to eating. You felt that you should finish eating. You had lost your appetite. No, you should finish eating. The conversation had taken your mind off the meal, but you opted to try to eat a little more. You picked up at the plate for a little while longer. Even though you'd relocated to your bedroom, your head was stuck on the conversation that had unfolded at the dining table downstairs. You knew that having someone come as a friend, you wanted to be as a date. The prospect of having your first date made it impossible to sit still. You couldn't help but jiggle your foot as you laid on your bed, contemplating the possibility that night being a date would mean actually asking someone out. The little you knew of that came from what you'd seen on TV and movies, and what you heard about from kids at school. Your moms hadn't even entertained the idea of you dating until now. You went over the possible words and phrases in your head, setting up scenarios as smooth segs before tearing them down and trying something else. You realize that you've been picturing Derek as the one you were asking? Hell yeah. It had been his name repeating inside your head, his face brightening as you invited him to join you. You buried your face in your pillow, not wanting to continue after noticing. You laughed awkwardly at yourself, smiling. You closed your eyes at the daydream crystallizing in your head. You let your train of thought continue a little longer. You clearly pictured his pretty green eyes, the way he got a tiny frown when he was nervous, and tried your best to guess what he might do next. It was nice. You liked him. You knew you were supposed to be friends, but you just liked him a lot. You wouldn't be able to stop thinking of him even if you wanted to, and you didn't. That was it. You decided to call Derek and invite him to the party, but no, what the fuck? We're not deciding against it. We're calling him. You were relieved to find the phone sitting in its cradle in the living room. Picking up the address book your mom's kept close to the phone, you flicked through until you found Derek's number under Suarez. You tapped the number into the phone and waited for someone to pick up.
Hello.
Hello, Suarez residents. Good afternoon, Miss Suarez. This is Michiko Melody. Can I talk to Derek?
I'm sorry.
He's out with his brothers right now. I can get him to call you back. You could wait for Derek to return the call. You had a little time. Thank you. It would be really great if you could do it today. I'll see what I can do. You traded goodbyes, hung up, and found a place to relax in the living room. That was as far as you got in decision making. You let yourself sink down into the corner of the couch and remained stuck against the plush cushions. Your plan A was on hold. More than that, it was hung up on. But you committed to waiting to hear from Derek, so waiting is what you had to do. The remote had been carelessly left on the green stool, almost certainly by your big sister. You lurched over the armrest to reach for the TV device. You stretched out your finger and succeeded in pressing down the on button. When flopping down back into your seat, you caught a glimpse of what had appeared on the screen. The show playing was a How It's Made mini documentary TV show, or type of show. The subject of that episode was prepackaged crackers. You didn't have the motivation to actually pick up the remote to change the channel, you simply let it play. After discovering how ice is added to the flour, when mixing the wet and dry ingredients, a jingly ring echoed across the room. Someone was calling. You threw yourself at the ringer in a panic mess of nerves. Launching forward, you snatched up the ringer excitedly. Who is it? The initial answer you got was a series of lighthearted chuckles. It's Derek. Hey, Michiko. I'm really sorry I missed you calling before. I was watching the little bros at the park. Mom came to find me. She did. Yeah, so I could call you back. Oh, Miss Suarez did you a big favor. Could you tell it was important? But, thanks for calling. Was there something you wanted to talk about? I'm going to the summer soiree at the Cypress tomorrow. My moms are going too.
Cool.
You gotta tell me what happens when you get back. No! You'd officially gotten to talk to him about the party. The time had to come to do something with the opportunity. You still have to make it a date. You asked him to join as a friend only. No! Date! This is a date, damn it! Derek wanted you to be my date for the party. Do you want to go on a date with me? My parents said it would be alright if I brought a date, and I thought maybe... Practice date? Fuck no. Derek wanted you to be my date for the party. Because I remember choosing the bold option for my girl's love for Derek, I think. You spoke your thoughts clearly. The pitch of his voice shot up so strikingly it crackled through the phone. Really? The possibility took a second for Derek to process, and then another second, and then another. Derek? Finally, he gave a rushed reply. Oh, no, yeah, I want to go. You're supposed to take a date to a party like that, right? It makes sense. Yay! Prior stalling aside, your invitation had Derek positively giddy. He giggled and babbled away from the receiver, but it wasn't nearly quiet enough for the phone to not pick it up. I can't believe it. This is the best. Then it's a date, Derek.
It's a date.
Yay! You smiled wildly. It was going to be a special night. A muffled feedback masked Derek's voice as he talked on. He was moving around. You could easily picture him bounding about his apartment, phone still in hand.
Man.
What do you think they're gonna have at the soiree? Dancing, music, sparkly drinks, maybe? Probably. The Cypress. I can't tell which one is correct. Usually has pretty fancy parties. So cool. The anticipation between the both of you continued to rise. Just imagine what tomorrow night might bring. But the party you were already starting was interrupted when Mom ambled back in the living room. She almost gave a shout to greet you, but caught herself when she noticed you were on the phone. Mimicking your current position, Mom stuck out her thumb and pinky finger and pressed the hand against her ear. At the same time, her lips stretched forward to slowly mouth the word who. I got to go. My mom's here. You whispered into the phone. Can you hang up on for a second? I've got to answer my mom. You spoke into the phone. Can you hang on?
No worries.
Say I said hello. Leaving things with him there, you lowered the phone to the counter. So what's happening? I'm talking to Derek. He says hello. Derek Suarez. Her eyebrows arched in curiosity, but she still wore a grin. And did he happen to call out of the blue, or was it you who gave him a ring? Maybe to ask a certain question. Yeah, he's the lucky guy I asked to the soiree. Okay.
Well,
What kind of outing will it be? Her voice was hesitant but serious. It's a date. Mom nodded understanding. She wore a wispy smile. Would you mind putting him on speaker for a second? I need to ask him something about tomorrow. Oh. The request caught you off guard and you fumbled the receiver for a second, but you got it under control and hit the speaker button. Derek, can you talk? You can talk to my mom. I put you on speaker. Hello, Miss Melody. Hey there, I have a quick question. What are you intending going out with Michiko for her very first date? What? Mom, you're gonna make him uncomfortable. Stop embarrassing me. You don't have to worry about that, Mom. To be super good to me, that's what. Isn't that right, Derek? Mom, you're going to make him uncomfortable. You crossed your arms over your chest and frowned at your mom. Was she trying to scare Derek off before you even had a chance to go out with them?
I've got a plan.
I had the extra best of intentions. Michiko's gonna have such a fun time. She wouldn't even know what hit her. Okay, good. That's enough from me. The big day isn't even here yet. You wondered if that meant she intended to give a repeat of this performance tomorrow. You were afraid to find out. Alright, bye then? Bye.
See you later.
Take care and see you soon. There were some happy giggles that snuck through before all sound on the other side cut off, marking the end of the conversation. Well, would you mind if I borrowed the phone now? I'll give Derek's parents a call back and get everything squared away. You held the receiver out and Mom strode over to pluck it out of her hand. Thank you very much, kiddo. Your part of the prep work was finished, and the rest of the afternoon passed by just like that. Back in your room, your mind was alight with visions of tomorrow night. The soiree was something, but not nearly as exciting as going on your first date. You were thrilled that Derek had actually said yes, that he was your genuine date to a party. You hugged your knees to your chest, overawed by the thought the night couldn't come soon enough. The evening of the soiree had arrived, the daylight hours having slipped away in a blur. Up in your bedroom, you were getting ready for the big event. That was your intention, at least, but you hadn't settled on an outfit. Stationed in front of your wardrobe, you scanned over the clothing you had at your disposal. Though Ma had mentioned this event was a bit dressier than a normal get-together, you didn't necessarily have to comply. You look for something formal. You wonder how Derek might feel about your outfit. See, I want both choices. No, let's go with this. You can't help but consider how he would respond to the way you were dressed. Would he like seeing dressed off fancy, or would it reinforce the weirdness of the situation? Your mind drifted up the next city over. Where was Derek going through these same steps right now, staring at his wardrobe and deciding what to wear? You had no idea if he would dress up for the occasion himself, or he'd wear his usual attire. It would be so much easier if you knew what he was going to do. You wanted to impress Derek. You didn't want to come across as too excited. You didn't want to, no. Ooh, you wanted him to see you in a new light. No, I want to impress him. You look for something formal. You attempted to decide between the nicer pieces in your wardrobe, the ones that rarely had a chance to come out. You decided to dress formally because you felt like you had to. You honestly like dressed up. You honestly like dressing up. There's something magical about the sheen of an elegant fabric and the cut of a formal wear, something that transformed everyone into a more sophisticated version of their normal self. To start, you decide to wear a dress. The one you picked was light and had sheen. The silky material seemed to glide through your fingers as you took it from the wardrobe. It was a perfect fit for a summer evening party. You began to get dressed, your fingers working stiff zips and awkward fastenings. It felt different against your skin, reminding you with every movement that you were dressed up. Whatever happened tonight, you were pleased that you had gotten the opportunity to wear this. Now dressed, you gave yourself a final glance over before heading downstairs, ready to head out. You found your mom's already waiting in the living room. They were putting the finishing touches on their outfits. Mom strapping her heel into a stiletto shoe, and Mom trying to fasten his bracelet single-handed. Ooh, look at my moms. Damn, gorgeous. They looked up as you entered.
Oh.
Michiko, you look so nice, don't you think, Pam?
Thanks.
Thanks for dressing up, Michiko. I hope the party will be prepared for your arrival. You look sharp. Mom was still struggling with the bracelet. You lent a hand, literally, by taking one side and holding it as she secured the clasp. Thanks, kiddo. Elizabeth flittered down the stairs, her eyes narrowed.
What?
You're still here? Yes, but not for much longer, hopefully. Wait, I know you're excited, but we haven't even said goodbye, and I want to go over how things are going to play out. Elizabeth sighed as Mom began listing the rules, ticking them off of her fingers. No ordering takeout or other deliveries. You can't have anyone else come over.
Uh-huh.
She nodded, resigned to her fate, listening to a set of rules she could predict without so much as a glance at a crystal ball. If anything happens, you can call us or go across the street to the Holdens. Keep the noise down. This house might be empty, but there are people all around in the neighborhood. Usual house rules still apply. Don't do anything you wouldn't do if we were here.
Alright.
And we'll be back no later than 11:30, but we'll call if there are any issues, so don't tie up the phone line all night. Right. All done? Can you go now? Ma strode over and swept Elizabeth in a hug. Your sister let out a small noise, her eyes widening, and suddenly looked much less like smug teenager she acted like. You're such a big girl now, I still can't believe it. Elizabeth rolled her eyes. This wasn't the quick departure that she had been hoping for. Any chance of it ending soon vanished as Mom joined in the hug. Neither can I. It feels like it was only yesterday that... Elizabeth groaned, trying to cut the reminiscing off without success. You laughed to stay clear of the love pile. You felt sorry for your sister. You were glad you weren't the only one. You joined in on the hug. Mom and Ma held out their arms to you as you approached, welcoming you into the hug. Elizabeth whined, eager for this to come to an end already.
Jeez.
Can you all go? Oh, can you all just go? Your family disentangled from the hug in time to catch a doorbell ringing. Oh, the guest of honor is here. She raced over to the door as Mom predicted. Derek had arrived right on time and he was ushered inside.
Oh, nice.
You look very nice, Derek.
Same.
Oh, you're so cute! He's so cute. Aww. Thanks, Miss Melody. So do you. Derek pulled at the ends of his polka dot bow in satisfaction. His gaze, though not so subtly, sought you out. And that's going to you too, Chico. Classy. Oh. On the final words, his voice faded away softly like the rays of dimming light. His words took you by surprise, but after the earlier worries about your parents, they were a welcome balm for your nerves. You attempted to control the grin spreading across your face. A small statement had made a big impact. You inspected his outfit in turn. You're looking good. I love your bow tie. Love the bow tie, Derek, you tease. I wish I could say the same to you. You look wonderful. You look wonderful. His crisp form of clothing could barely contain the elation Derek was vibrating.
Thank you.
Aww. Now that Mom had finished reiterating the rules to Elizabeth, who then scurried off to the sanctuary of her room, she came over to greet Derek. Hi, Derek. Nice to have you along for the ride. Thank you for taking me.
You're welcome.
It's no problem. You're always welcome. Mom's eyebrows rose in twin lines of concern. Let's all remember that this is only a very, very first date. There's no pressure on either of you, alright? Mom. Chill.
Yeah.
No pressure, yeah. What do you mean? Do you expect us to have a kiss or something? Because I don't think that's happening. His absolute enthusiasm began to dim at the statement. Luckily, Ma came over and cheered him on. Mom's the cautious sort, sweetie. You don't need to look so worried. Mom smiled reassuringly. She didn't intend to scare him. Ma laid a hand on her shoulder. We should get to the car. There's nothing fashionable about being late. Oh, and before I forget, thank you so much for getting here on the dot, Derek. That's appreciated.
You're welcome.
I want to thank you too. The interest really was perfect. Can you teleport something? I want to thank you too. It must have been hard to time things with the long trip here. Yeah, I wasn't going to be late for this. Carefree laughter and conversation flowed from Derek.
Oh, man.
Man, I told my mom it was 30 minutes before it actually was. I was definitely going to be here when it was time to go. Huh, wouldn't you have been here way ahead of time? Clever, you've got everything figured out. Your mom got here 30 minutes late? Wait, if that's what happened, did you really just get here? You're great, but your mom is so unreliable. If that happened, did you really just get here? And then the stream hit a block. Derek broke eye contact with you. He poked at his pant hemline, tucking his shirt down more to keep busy. Not really. Mom got me here on time. It's like 30 minutes before now.
Well,
I didn't want to interrupt you and your mom's because you were probably getting ready for then. I just hung out at the park. Oh my god, you're so fucking early. With a wink, Derek tried to smooth over the awkwardness of that confession. Jeremy never popped out of the bushes to insult me, so it was all good. It made you feel special that he cared so much. What? He went way overboard? Derek was a great guy. You shouldn't feel bad about those things. That was too cute! You can come inside my house whenever. You're adorable. Your mouth was stuck shut. Your stomach was fluttering. That means a lot to me. You're so cute! It kicked up a leg bashfully, getting the whole time. I wanted to make a good impression. And even if I did have to be bored for a while, at least I was here in your neighborhood. You never know, there could have been traffic, or what if George fell off a gate and broke his collarbone again? George fell off a gate and broke his collarbone before? Yeah, when he was 8, but you invited me to a soiree. My life would be over if just one of those things came up and, oh well, guess we're not going after all happened. Derek was drowning in the conversation of his own making. He chose to put a stop to that, putting a dam between him and it. Sorry, I didn't want to be all complaining when we're going to a party. And besides, coming early isn't gonna matter if we're late because we kept talking about being early. Let's catch up with your moms. Right, we better hurry. Oh, it's so pretty here. This is like my favorite spot. We pulled up at the country club. The sun had sunk down deep into the horizon, the last of its light sleepily warming the oncoming night. Your moms led the way to the space around the back where the event was being held. The place had been transformed through the decoration, with smart tablecloths and elegant ribbons contributing to a festive atmosphere. Musicians dressed in matching black and white were setting up their instruments and flicking through the pages of sheet music. And as promised, there was a table covered in plates of carefully prepared food. Destination reached, your parents rounded on you and Derek. Things haven't kicked off yet, but don't let that stop you from enjoying yourselves.
Have fun.
We'll be around if you need us.
See you later.
Bye. Derek enthusiastically waved your moms off, stretching his arm as high as it could go. Bye, Miss and Miss Melody. Once they had retreated a distance away, you found him watching you. His eyes sparkled in the dainty dangling lights all around as your date together officially began. Is there anybody you want to socialize with? That's what parties are for sometimes, or we could get refreshments. We can look at the stacks now. I don't know anybody here. It's okay to eat them, even if the music hasn't started yet.
Let's go.
Alright, let's see what they've got. The two of you wandered over to the refreshment table. With it being early in the night, it had barely been touched, and the plates were nearly as pristine as they'd left the kitchens. The offerings were all tiny and bite-sized, ready to be picked up and sampled. It was immediately apparent that there was plenty to choose from. Just from the level of care with which it was presented, it was clear that this was fancy stuff. Derek perused the options with a scrutinizing eye. From one end to the other, his gaze swept across the scene. He took a few sniffs for good measure. They put these together themselves, or they hired a catering company to come here and make them, but it's really fresh. That's great. He's so adorable. You're so adorable. I couldn't tell at all. It looks too bad to be fresh. What the fuck? More like it's gross, but only some of it's in it. Oh yeah, this is good stuff. You're not happily agreeing with Derek's assessment. It was quality food. You picked one of the nearby morsels up and presented it in front of Derek. It looked like a tiny slice of bread. There was a pile of minced veggies and maybe some olives on top.
Alright.
I'll try that one. Without much thought and without taking much time, Derek scooped up only a couple of appetizers on his plate. The rest were left for other guests. Want me to get anything for you? Oh, how kind, sir. Yes, indeed. He teasingly played along. One of each, please. No, surprise me.
I'm on it.
Yeah, let's see what he thinks I would like. Derek put his own plate down to get an empty one. He sidestepped across the length of the table, filling your dish with what he considered to be the prime offerings. Then a plate was offered to you. Thank you. His cheery reply was said at the same moment he lifted his own food back
You're
up.
welcome.
So, do you like it? Did you know they added ice to cracker mix? Did you know they add ice to cracker mix? Derek paused mid-bite. What? Crackers, the packaged kind. They add ice to the flour and stuff when mixing the ingredients to keep it from fermenting too soon. Cool. Cool is the goal. You made Derek laugh and that made you happy. The company was even better than the food. Aw, after going through a round of sampling, you continued munching the refreshments, you moved on to something else. Let's move to something else. Derek? Can we find a place to sit?
Obviously.
Oh, duh, yeah, you've got to have a place to sit. He checked out the area, swiveling his head around. When Derek couldn't get a good enough view, he hopped up into the air. That one looks open over there. I think so too. He walked to sit at the edge of the party area, where it was quieter with a fewer people cluttered around. Derek hustled to reach the table first. Don't worry, I'll get that for you. Oh, he's so gentlemanly, bro. He pulled out a chair and waited. You passed Derek without a word, sat in a different chair. You're a real gentleman, no. He took a seat on the woven patio chair, and it was still a little warm from what was left in the sunlight. Derek gladly pushed it back into place with you in it. Then Derek swung around the table and got into his own chair that went right across from you. Where did you learn all your manners? Have you been to a forum? Try to relax. Where did you learn all your manners? I don't know. My family, teachers, TV shows. I just try to be polite and usually am. Oh, that's nice. Thanks. Derek leaned all the way back, giving a grin. Now that you had a spot of your own, you stayed chatting with Derek at the table. The conversation continued until you felt refreshed and ready to go again. Alright. Is there anything you'd want to do? Letting the next move be up to him, Derek restlessly looked around the party. He squinted his eyes and really considered the possibilities. Then he gave an unassertive answer.
Well,
it wouldn't be a big deal. Would it be alright if you showed me around? I've never seen any of this place, so, we could go on a walk? Perfect. Derek's pointer fingers tapped into rhythm across the edge of the table like he was spelling out his answer in text on a typewriter. Definitely, I'll be your expert tour guide. Thanks. Derek enthusiastically bounced from his seat. You got to your feet too. It led him down a familiar stone walking path you knew would get far. Your lovely stroll around the country club grounds began in earnest. The bustling sound of the party soon faded away, replaced by whispers of cricket songs and the serene summer breeze. Along the way, you gestured outward to point out what buildings were what, from the simple storage sheds to special club rooms for VIP members. And you were able to tell Derek all about the golf holes in the distance that you passed by, including how good or bad your big sister was at completing them. You had a chance to tell the family story when, one time, she got a penalty for a strike that landed in the water hazard. She had jumped right in the little pond to retrieve the ball and tried to pretend it never happened while dripping wet. Derek was as amused as he was amazed. He engaged with you by making silly guesses about what you would tell him about next. Derek jokingly suggested that a normal garage was a research facility studying how to add extra greens to grass. You're so absorbed in your companion for the outing and having the space to yourselves that you didn't realize the growing humdrum around you until it was right around the corner. Derek paused. He noticed it too. Oh. His eyebrow quirked as he tried to reason out the disturbance.
Huh?
Is that people? Did we make a loop and I just missed that? No, we're on the opposite end. It's about as far away from the event area as we could be. Curiously, Derek took big strides while mentally puzzling over what you'd said. Together, you passed by a large water view and another seating area. It too was filled with formally dressed people.
Whoa!
A second party? None of the faces scattered about were regular members. Each one was as unrecognizable as any stranger off the street. You had your points of focus, and Derek has his own totally separate ones. He spoke aloud to share what he noticed. The tables have cloth here, and I think the chairs didn't look like that back where we were. Is this a wedding? Actually, this kind of feels like we got stuck in some alternate reality version of our soiree, where everyone is still really fancy, but also still different in different ways. That's funny, but really, you're right. This has to be the answer, you joked. That'd be horrible. You shrugged over Derek's exaggerating. You giggled. Yeah, I'll just giggle. This is their outdoor dining seating for other types of events, ones that aren't the normal soirees. I never have a reason to go here when I visit my mom's. I kind of thought it'd be empty with a soiree happening. Derek's gaze wandered across the area, taking another shrewd look. Yeah, why be in this place when there's food and pretty lights over in the patio? And there's way more teens than at our party. Tons of them look like they're our age. This is mysterious. The long list of questions didn't bother Derek. Quite the opposite. Playing detective was something he was having fun with. It's time to get to the bottom of this. I'm gonna ask somebody what's up. What, Derek? Are we really gonna do that? He whispered nervously. Tally-ho, Watson. You just went along with him. You shrunk uncomfortably. Tally-ho, Watson. Does Sherlock really say tally-ho? I don't know. It sounded right.
I gotcha.
You've got a point. The two of you boldly head into the thick of the family reunion, business meeting, weddings, secret society meeting, or whatever it was. Soon you would know. Oh my god. Oh my god. Ain't no way. I forgot his name. But it's him. What is his name? It's him because of the mole. I remember the mole. Oh my god, he's so hot. Holy fuck, you look so hot here. The subject Derek zeroed in on was a tall kid, maybe a little older than you and him, who stood on the edges of the crowd by themselves. Baxter. That's Baxter, yeah? His name finally hit me. Most everyone else was part of a group or in one-on-one conversation, but not that person. Their hair was short, swooping black strands that framed a pointedly petite face. Their dark brown eyes were heavy-lidded. On a second glance, you also noticed there was a small mole on their neck. You wouldn't have been surprised if people often told them they were pretty. Honestly. Hot damn. The rest of their skin was a pale white, the kind that had somehow escaped any tanning, freckling, or even sunburning California's summer rays. Derek offered a friendly wave once he was close enough for it to be clear he wasn't just passing by. Hey, so this might sound weird, but what are you guys all doing here? A coy smile came across the stranger's face. We're visitors who are in this town for a dance circuit. This dining area is reserved for our group only tonight. What's going on with you? That is Baxter, because Baxter loves dancing. Oh, he's so hot. He's so hot, bruh. But I'm on a date with Derek, so. The tables were immediately turned. You and Derek had questions to answer for. He rubbed his cheek and chuckled uncomfortably.
Oops.
We didn't know that. There was a soiree happening on the other side of the club for members and their guests. That's where we came from. Please don't tell on us. That got them to open their eyes completely. They even leaned forward just a bit, much more engaged in the conversation. I thought I noticed something that way. It's been bothering me the entire evening. I was planning to check when it got darker. Yeah, well, that's what it is. Sorry for crashing your party. Don't apologize. The self-described dancers' eyes sunk back into their half-open state as their lips curved even further. The smile had become a true smirk. I'm still going to yours when I get the chance. A mutual exchange of secrets brought a lighthearted sense of camaraderie between your tiny group. But it didn't last. They inclined their head in a slight nod before breezing away. Bye! Good luck with your dance circuit and everything else. That had to be Baxter. You lifted up your arm and waved. As soon as your vague acquaintance mixed back into the crowd of fellow suited performers, Derek wrapped his arms around his chest. Okay, I feel way more out of place now that we're not even talking to anybody. Let's go back to the path before one of the boats realizes we're not supposed to be here. It's gonna be like that movie with the aliens who take over people where they point and yell at real humans. That's so freaky. Right, we've gotta go. Wait, they probably can't tell. Let's join the party. If you want to leave, I don't mind. Can we stay? That's scary. I want to leave. Right, we've gotta go. Derek's expression tints with a grim seriousness. He took an extra step towards you, never taking his eyes off your surroundings. Some of the guests had already begun directing lingering glances at the two of you, unsure of your presence there. The closeness allowed you to hear conspiratorial words said under his breath. How are we gonna handle this? We need to hide. We can escape faster if we get out on the grass. We just need to pretend we belong and walk out. Trying to ignore the stares, you made your break for it. You hooked an arm around Derek and began to walk. You took a breath. No, hook your arm around Derek. After a bit of a stumble, Derek evened his voice and properly took your arm. He kept his head high, chest out, chin pointed, and pumped his other hand back and forth in time with his footsteps. The act was more a parody of a fancy pants rich person than normal human at a get-together, but Derek always had to give things his all. Foot by foot, the way to freedom grew closer. After passing a group of people, an unfamiliar voice hit your ear from behind. Excuse me, do you know where your parents are? The server may have honestly been wondering, or it might have been a veiled method to call you out as not belonging in the politest way possible. That it didn't change the fact that you were spotted waltzing around a private party you weren't invited to. The next sound that made its way through your pounding heartbeat was a far more familiar whisper.
Shoot.
Run. You didn't need to hear anything else. The two of you were in sync. Like a switch was hit, you burst up to your full height and used the momentum to launch yourself forward past the failed hiding spot. You lost hold of each other's arm in the sprint, but you kept to each other's side. Your dramatic escape caused a minor ruffling of feathers throughout the crowd. Shouts of, "Hey, stop running!" could be heard over the confusion of what was going on. It was just as Derek had feared, but no one was actually chasing after you, as far as you could tell. However, neither you nor Derek were taking chances, and you kept up the frantic pace. You were escaping the metaphorical aliens. Your throbbing heart was caught up in your throat as your pounding feet propelled you down the same track you come from. Being dressed in your Sunday best didn't help matters. It may have been fitting for a summer soiree, but it didn't fit at all for the situations like that you somehow ended up in. It seemed you and Derek had a knack for winding up positions that required a hasty retreat. At least that time you could get away for good. You wouldn't have to go home and face the music like when you ditched Elizabeth on the first day of vacation. Once you made it halfway back across the country club, you finally floundered into a stop, huffing and heaving for breath. You had to prop yourself up with your hands against your knees, your face flushed with heat, but a chill began to seep in as the evening wind brushed over beads of sweat on your skin. You got goosebumps along your arms. It was invigorating. Meanwhile, Derek wiped his forehead with the palm of his hand, likely missing those plush wristbands he almost always had on, and glanced up at the sky.
Good job, team.
Looks like we shall live to see another day. Let's do this again. Another victory in the bag. You're practically criminal masterminds now. This better be the last time we do this, Derek, you teased. You beamed. Another victory in the bag. You gave a thumbs up in celebration. The rest of the walk back was indeed a walk. You could relax with a slow pace, enjoying the quiet reassurance of being alone with Derek. The rest of the world wasn't able to reach you for a little while. Nightfall had long passed by the time you and Derek found your way back under the dazzling lights of the summer soiree. Can you kind of see it in the background? I guess you can kind of see in the background of the other parties or homes. Mom would say it's not fashionable to be late, but maybe it was when it's your second time arriving to a party. It might have been to Derek. He took in the scene with new eyes, amazed once again by the elegance surrounding him. With a tilt of his head, he shot a chummy grin at you.
Definitely.
I definitely did not have to be here for this. Did have to be here for this. It's living a real-life movie instead of watching one. What do you mean instead of? Were you going to do something else tonight? For a second, he didn't speak, frozen in place. Then Derek deflated like a free balloon from the shopping street. His shoulders sunk low and forward, and he bent on his knees. Well, actually, we're gonna go to the movie theater. Mom, Dad, the bros. It was something we knew would be today for a couple weeks. Oh no. Now I feel bad. But then you called and he asked me to go to the party, and I said yeah. I didn't even think about how there was already a plan for that day. He sniggered at himself, eyebrows pinching together tightly. It was kind of awkward, and I had to tell my parents I couldn't call you back and say I wasn't going to go after all, and beg them to let me miss the movie. Luckily, they could tell this was a matter of life or death, and still wanted their son around, so they managed to bring me over. Derek and you were somehow equally shocked by this explanation.
Man.
I always used to remember those things. They were big deals, and now this happened. He sighed, baffled and frustrated. The green-eyed boy had lost the metaphorical keys of his own thoughts. I gotta do better next time. You already do more than anyone I know. My mom said this night's me growing up more. I think you're growing up too. You're kind of impulsive, huh? Derek, the impulsive strikes again. You're 13. Oh, we're 13? Oh, right, Elizabeth's 15 then, yeah? If it helps, I'm happy you wanted to see me so much. He physically perked right up, standing straight again. A flush rushed over his cheek that he tried to play off with a joke. It would have been an extra embarrassing if you didn't care if I decided not to come. Emi Chico? I want to say I'm the one who forgot I was doing something and had to skip out on the family movie. You didn't make me abandon them or anything, so I hope you don't feel bad about it. Aw, thanks, Derek. No worries, just checking. Aw, you're so considerate, bro. What the fuck? He's like the perfect boyfriend. Derek scuffed the base of his black slip-on loafers against the ground as words faded away. Then he lifted his head to look somewhere past you. Oh hey, the music's playing. He spoke softly like he was afraid he'd bring the melodies to an end if he interrupted them. But Derek was right. Once he brought it to the front of your mind, the rest of the world became back in, the sounds of delicate plucks on strings included. There was no crowd gathered to dance, only a few couples spread out across the space. You must have missed the initial stream of sorry attendees. It had grown late. Well, since we're already here and everything, we're here already and everything, would you want to dance with me? Of course. How can we deny this cutie? The question ended on a hopeful upward inflection. He bounced up on his heel once to punctuate it. Derek stopped breathing entirely when the sentence was complete. Well, I would, Derek. I'd love to. I was just gonna ask the same thing. I'd love to.
Nice!
Yes! Derek's cheer was pure, carefree even. The worries from right before vanished as quickly as he'd forgotten the movie. There was a trend with him with you. Sweetly, he brought up a hand for you to take. You wrapped yours around his. It was still a bit sweaty from earlier, though so was yours. You took the wide open floor and turned to face each other directly. Raising the arm with Derek's, you positioned your other hand onto Derek at the same time. He followed your move with a sharp focus. Your bodies were close enough together to almost touch, and in that position you were eye to eye with Derek more intently than you'd ever been before. His cheeks were a lovely rosy pink shade. You tentatively moved as one. Derek stepped lightly, never so much as pinching the tips of your toes. Each sway transitioned better than the last, so there wasn't much of a flow. Derek danced more like a machine, clinking exactly into place at the right intervals. There was tension in Derek that, for the second time in a few minutes, he tried to laugh away.
Hey.
Check it out, we're totally dancers. They should have let us join in that other party. His stiffness on that delivery only made the line funnier. He had to crack a smile. Derek let the conversation drift away. Focus returned completely to a proper performance. He leaned over and rested your cheek on his shoulder. Hell yeah. Derek gulped but pressed deeper into the touch. His warmth spread through you more wonderfully than the melody swirling around. You were happy. Eventually, the last other guests returned to their tables to rest. It was only you and him left there. In a small voice, Derek let you in on what was on his mind. Hey, sorry we kind of missed the party. I shouldn't have made you take me around everywhere. What? Don't worry about that. I just hope you had fun. I've been to tons of these parties. Doesn't matter to me. That was way more fun. You shrugged it off. You gave him a reassuring smile. I was waiting for this. We could have done anything and it'd be great. Really? Thanks. I liked hanging out tonight too. I'm still having fun right this exact second. I'm really glad I had my first date with you. Ooh. The tips of his eyebrows dug lower in his face. He was serious.
Really?
You mean it? Yes, I really mean it. Why wouldn't I? You brought him to a loss for words, or actually, it was to a point where any words he wanted to say only got stuck at the end of his tongue. His mouth opened with a question. You closed it again without asking. Derek? He instantly shook his head, not letting you speak anything you might have wanted to earlier.
Forget it.
It's nothing. Well, would it be way too much to say thanks for bringing me again? It's okay. Blissfully and with a dizzy tilt, Derek grinned that charming smile of his. Your heart clenched as if you were in the free fall of a skydive rather than standing in the middle of a pleasant party. The feeling of connection was mutual. Derek was buzzing with the kind of energy you only got when it was bouncing off the best company. It made Derek break out of his self-imposed mold. Can't read. He tucked his left hand around your back and spun the both of you around. Whoa!
Let's go.
Let's dance. Definitely I could try. We already were, but okay. You answered by shifting your own hand to hold on more tightly. Cool. The two of you twirled like ballerinas. You pushed and pulled your bodies apart and back together. As your mom would have said, you cut a rug across the floor. Somehow you felt like a kid again, where it didn't matter what you did or who might be watching. The world was yours to enjoy. What do you mean felt like a kid again? We're still a kid. Derek had clearly embraced that mindset with a little impromptu tap dancing to the beat, bringing you along the whole way. You cheered and laughed together until you lost your breath, even so you still kept going. Then all too soon the song reached its conclusion. You could have continued quite contentedly for some time more. You and Derek let your arms drop down in front of you, though one hand stayed linked with his and your feet remained rooted where they were. Suddenly you weren't holding hands to dance, you were just hand holding with Derek. You took the initiative to finish your performance with flair by giving a properly formal curtsy, while still never letting go of you. Derek crossed his legs and swept his back down. Legs bent, he lifted his head to face you and winked. Somehow you found some giggles left inside. You heard your name called out and Derek gasped. You both spun to find Mom yelling for you and Derek. Beside her, Mom was shaking her head.
Sorry.
It's time to go home. Lonnie, I had to get a hold of them somehow. What did you want me to do, sneak up on them? Her chosen method was admittedly better than that, but the timing was still terrible. Derek breathed a sigh of relief after the shock wore off. The shout had thrown him right back to earlier in the evening when unknown adults were also yelling after you. He lifted up one cheek with a lopsided smile.
Phew.
Looks like we're getting away with it. The getaway ride is here. The two of you shared a private laugh while your parents watched the reaction and confusion. You were so glad that you got a chance to dance with Derek after all of your misadventures at the party. Despite the minor spook thanks to your mom, it had been the perfect ending to the evening. And it had to end sometime. You didn't need to say anything to him. The two of you strolled together again over to your parents, who were still bickering playfully. Hello, Miss Melody and Miss Melody. Standing shoulder to shoulder, the two surveyed you and Derek. You wondered if they were checking that you were returning to Suarez's son in the same state that he left the house.
So?
That was quite a night, huh, gang? Wasn't it, just? I think it was pretty unforgettable. Derek's face had a full grin, and while the words were in response to your parents, he looked directly at you when he said them. Thanks for bringing us. Mom was smiling too, with an expression so soft it could have cradled a newborn chick.
Well?
And how was your first date? So good. Amazing. Really, we couldn't catch a glimpse of you the whole night, so what? Please don't start on them already. Technically hasn't even ended yet. Fine. Good. Well, we better hustle. First stop is bringing Derek home, and it's already getting late. Elizabeth will have the place to herself for a little while longer. If we're lucky, our house might still be standing when we get back.
Pam.
Oh, shush. She swatted your mom playfully, laughing at the comment. You cast one look at the party. You saw people exchanging farewells and depressing yawns. Most of the faces were happy ones, despite the weariness that was starting to creep in. Derek lingered near you, waiting. The pair of you were going to be left behind at the rate things were going. Turning away from the final moments of the summer's soiree, you were left feeling grateful that you had such a good guest to keep you company the whole way through. You both easily caught up with your moms. They hadn't gone far. Together, the four of you navigated the crowded parking lot, filled to the brim with cars from the other visitors. Mom unfortunately couldn't remember exactly where the car was. It took a short game of extra elegant or extra ridiculous, depending on your review. Hide and seek with a car to locate the family vehicle in a back corner of the lot. You clambered inside, and Mom hit the road. It would be a while before you would arrive at Derek's home, so you let yourself settle against the seat. You slunk lower and rested your head against the car door. Little blurs of light flashed by one after the other as the car sped past street lamps lining the almost empty road. After more than 10 minutes of silence, Derek extended his arm and legs all the way out while lifting them in the air and pairing it with a wide yawn. He looked like a sleepy starfish. Derek glanced at you through squinted eyes as a soft smile replaced the large gape in his mouth before. In the darkness of the back of your car, as you rocked gently from the vibrations, he whispered to you, "You're great." Excuse you? Why are you being so cute? Oh, you're great. Well, you're even better. You're really cute. Are you doing okay? Are you doing okay? No, you're really cute. Thanks. His eyes fell closed, the ends of his lips still pulled up. Do you think that brown-eyed dancer ever made it to the soiree? I bet he did, Derek. It's a new mystery. I hope so. Don't care. It's a new mystery. Yeah. Finally, you arrive at the condo complex. Your mom's insisted on escorting Derek into his actual house. He didn't protest. You, of course, tagged along too. It was a chance to stay with Derek for longer. It would be too creepy waiting in the car. No, it would be a chance to stay longer with Derek. It was a short walk from the building, through the moderately decorated lobby, up one floor, and across the hall to Derek's front door. He paused the journey for a second to give a warning. We're gonna have to be really quiet. It's past my brother's bedtime. You and your mom's nodded as a group. Mom went even with the extra mile by making a mock zipping gesture across her lips. That was enough for him, and Derek shoved a hand deep into his gray pants, so he retrieved a loop of shiny silver keys. He cycled through the first couple on the ring before carefully gripping the one he needed. It was slotted into the keyhole, twisted, and then the door was tugged slowly open. Derek went straight in, and you followed on his heels. With Mom behind you, and Mom got inside last. She shut the door. Lights were on the main room, but it was an empty space. None of the 4 people here could be seen. The only sound was clinking, rumbling on an active dishwasher. Derek bobbed his stretched out hands down low and back up, gesturing like a team captain for you to hold the line. Your mom gave a thumbs up. He tiptoed down the hall, hunching his shoulders up high. When he reached the last door at the end, he shifted from almost crouching to extending out to his tallest height. Then Derek gave the door a few light knocks. Mr. Suarez answered, his features lit up, seeing who was there. Miss Suarez joined her son and her husband right after. Mouths opened and closed as they had an inaudible conversation on their side of the condo. Their lips shut when Derek pointed to the entryway. Both Suarez's parents took a step out of the room one in front of the other. They easily spotted your family there, huddled together in your formal attire. The 3 of you stayed put while they crowded through the hall. The room came alive with pleasant greetings between the two pairs of grown-ups, though all in hushed tones. They offered a hello to you next. Welcome to our home, lady family.
So good to see you.
Hi, we returned your kid in one piece. It's good to see you too. You gave a shy wave. It's good to see you too. Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
Hello.
Hello, Derek. I'm sorry for keeping you out so late. Right, for a mostly elderly crowd, those country club goers sure can party into the wee hours of the night. From that side, Mr. Suarez snickered. Apologies to Nicholas. Derek picked up on the little comment loud and clear and made his teeth clench.
Aww.
Threw a fit, huh? The chuckles grew into full, unobscured laughter.
Yes.
He was trying to drown us all in tears when the time to sleep came, and his most beloved person still wasn't home. Junior wasn't pleased either in his way. In contrast to the father's tickled amusement, Derek's mom frowned. She rubbed the opposite side of her forearms with her hands crossed over her chest.
Don't worry about
Derek
that.
and Chico can't be blamed for that. This was an important night. Yes, it is. Shh. Derek and his mom brought a finger to their lips to hush Mr. Suarez in a united chorus of disapproval. Derek's dad chuckled softly under his breath, rustling his beard. You got the impression he knew exactly what the reaction he was going to get, and it was done on purpose. He played innocent and simply continued with what he wanted to say.
So?
How was your date? Fun? He tucked his fingers into the edges of his vest, puffing up his chest. I know you all of our children. I know you of all our children. We're prepared to accompany someone to a proper social gathering. One day when you are older, you could come with me to business dinners. Mr. Suarez's genuine pride over the date felt like a foreign language in comparison to your mom's love of teasing. But for Derek, that nod of approval made him just as bashful as your parents could do to you. We had a nice time. Thanks, Dad. Miss Suarez beamed and gave her child an encouraging pat on the cheek, squashing his face between both hands.
That's great.
That's what we hoped to hear. Thanks for getting Derek yesterday so we could talk. Thank you for letting Derek come with me to this party. Thank you for
You're welcome.
Welcome, Ichiko. I wouldn't have wanted him to miss it. His parents were so nice, but that wasn't a surprise. Derek had to get it from somewhere. And have no fear, Junior Nicholas will recount the movie so well it will be as if you saw it yourself. I already feel as though I have watched it myself 3 or 4 times. It was meant to be further encouragement, but the weight of self-imposed shame brought Derek's head down. His mother watched over him, her mouth opened slightly before she had the words to say. Were you stressed about that tonight? Not coming to the movie with us?
Maybe.
Maybe a little.
No more.
Derek, you have nothing to be guilty for. End of discussion. No more feeling sorry. Derek's dad followed that up with a wholehearted agreement. When will there be another day to attend a summer soiree? A movie can be rented after it leaves the theater, and we'll wait for you as long as you want. And so will we. We're not going anywhere. Derek finally let himself embrace the fact that he had done something just for himself and that it was alright. Yes, Derek. I think he needs that. I think he needs more of that. Thanks, Mom. Thanks, Dad. He stood a little taller and seemed a little more grown up. Exhaling long and slow from his nose, Mr. Suarez spoke
Young
peacefully.
love is a beautiful thing.
Derek and I haven't confessed each other's feelings yet. You question if you actually heard that right until you heard Derek.
What?
He might not have heard it himself, though. Derek was in such a shock, he shouted out with volume higher than you'd ever experienced from him, and at the worst possible time for it. A bushy brow raised on Mr. Suarez's head. He frowned, earnestly bemused. What? Is that wrong? Derek snapped back with pain and frustration. There was audible whine in his tone. Why would you say that? And then tiny rapid footsteps thumped out across the hardwood. The echoes moved with purpose, and they were coming closer. And a slapping sigh of defeat brought your attention away from the incoming commotion. Miss Suarez had folded her arms across her chest. Well, he's up. Derek clapped a hand to his face. He winced partially from the impact of that, but mainly from the consequence of his earlier action.
I hate to say it.
I hate to chase you off, but we're going to have to get Nicholas back into bed where he belongs. Time to call it a night, everyone. Oh no, I understand completely. Elizabeth was quite the handful when she was little. She still is in different ways. A prim smile remained in place on Ma's face, but there was a smirk twinkling in her eyes. Derek's mom rested her hands back on her hips as she laughed bemusically. I say that Nicholas having the energy of 3 is a price I must pay with what angels Derek and George are. We'll survive together. The two set of parents exchanged the briefest goodbyes with each other, but they weren't any less friendly. There was time to waste. Night, Michigo. Sorry about this. The party was great. Night, see you later. You're still a perfect gentleman, huh? It was amazing. Have a good night. You're still a perfect gentleman, huh? Still trying, maybe. He waited with a sleepy softness while you were ushered out by Mom and Ma. Before your Ma could pull the Suarez's front door completely shut, a final squeal escaped through the crack. And that was followed by the click of a lock in place. Derek had officially been returned to his family. He was no longer your guest. Mom's heels clicked down the complex hallway with her head high and a grin playing out on her face. Now that's one way to end the night. I agree, Pam. If only Elizabeth would welcome us home with the same level of enthusiasm. They both laughed, covering their mouths and trading glances like schoolgirls. Each one didn't with a giggle. It was easy to imagine the sour face should make. You tiptoed after them on cloud 9, reminiscing of your night with Derek. It was magical. You're so glad you'd be able to stay with him for as long as you could. As your mom had said, your first independent form of party ended on a very memorable note. Confused about the way Derek responded about his dad, though. That part was a little confusing to me. But we have officially completed the Swery route. We're about to hit in summer, and I don't know if the dialogue has changed or anything because we were more focused on Derek. But I will find out in the next episode because this one's already 51 minutes long. So thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.